Hello, welcome to another scary story that you can fall asleep to. It started with a voice on the radio. Chris had been driving home late from his night shift, the highway almost empty, when static filled his car stereo. At first, he thought it was just interference, until the static shaped itself into words. Welcome, night wanderer. We found us. Stay a while. The voice was low, soothing, with a faint crackle, like it had traveled through dust and wires for decades. The digital screen of his car radio flickered. It no longer showed the station number, just one word, midnight. Chris tried to change the station. The knob clicked, the screen shifted, but the sound didn't move. A low, eerie melody filled the car, played on instruments he didn't recognize. Strings that vibrated too long, drums that echoed like thunder underwater. It was beautiful, wrong, but beautiful. His hands trembled. He turned the radio off completely, but the music kept playing. The screen still glowed faintly. Midnight broadcast. When he pulled into his driveway, the music cut off. In its place was the voice again, whispering calmly. Don't to tell anyone you. We heard us. They won. To understand. They all try to stop you, and you don't. To want them to stop you. The voice chuckled softly. I'll see you tomorrow night. Same time, same place. Chris sat in silence, shaking, as his radio finally went dead. The next day, Chris could stop thinking about the broadcast. At work, while stocking shelves, he hummed the strange melody without realizing it. Customers stared at him. His boss asked if he was okay. That night, he swore he wouldn't. He turned the radio on, but at 12:01 a.m., the stereo lit up on its own, the screen, midnight, and the voice. Welcome back. The voice introduced something new. Tonight, we'll begin with the roll call. Names began to spill from the static, one after another. Chris froze when he heard his own. Chris Bennett. The voice lingered on it, savoring it. Still with us. Good. Chris whispered into the empty car. Who are you? The radio chuckled. We re your family now, you. LC. As the voice continued, Chris' surroundings warped. The dashboard melted into shadows, the street outside stretching and twisting. Through the windshield, he saw figures walking along the road. Not cars, not people, tall, thin shapes with featureless faces, moving in perfect silence. The radio spoke softly, almost lovingly. They coming for you. Don't worry. They only want to listen. Chris' hands gripped the steering wheel until his knuckles bled. The next morning, news reports caught his attention. Multiple missing persons in towns across the state. All last seen after midnight. All cars were parked, radios still on. Chris tried to tell himself it was coincidence. At night, the stereo lit up again, showing midnight broadcast. The voice whispered, You see, you were never alone. Tonight, S broadcast was different. The music was slower, deeper, like a heartbeat, and with it came whispers, not from the radio. He could hear them in his ears, in the room, in his skull. Come closer, stay, forever. Chris tried to resist covering his ears, but the whispers burrowed inside him. He understood instinctively, once heard, the music didn't leave you. Chris woke to scratching at his door. He thought it was a burglar, but the moment he looked, nothing was there. The radio turned on by itself, emitting a low hum. Then he saw it, shadows pressing against the windows, perfectly humanoid, silent, and a faint whisper. The broadcast waits. You belong. Chris locked every door, but the music found a way through the walls, through the air. By midnight, Chris noticed lights flickering in the houses across the street. Other radios turned on. Other voices joined his broadcast. It wasn't just him anymore. The voice laughed, layered with dozens of others. We told you, we are never alone. Listen, all belong. Chris felt the walls breathe around him, the house itself pulsing with the melody. He whispered to himself, I have to stop it. The radio crackled. No one stops the midnight broadcast, not even you. Chris unplugged the stereo. Nothing happened. The music continued, faintly humming through the walls. He smashed the radio with a hammer. The screen cracked, sparks flying, but the melody persisted. The voice whispered in the back of his skull, You cannot silence us. We are in the wires, the waves, the night itself. Panic clawed at him. He understood. The broadcast was not just on the radio, it was everywhere. Chris looked in the bathroom mirror. His reflection moved differently, lagging slightly behind his own motions. It smiled when he didn't. The radio's hum whispered, We are in you now. You hear us. You see us. You belong. He stumbled backward, breaking the mirror. Yet the face smiled from the shards on the floor. Chris glanced outside. Every house, as lights blinked in unison. Radios, televisions, even cell phones emitted the strange melody. Neighbors were standing outside, still as statues, eyes glazed, listening. He banged on their doors, screaming. But they didn't. Answer. The voice chuckled through every device, perfectly synchronized. All listeners are welcome. The night is ours. Chris grabbed his keys and ran. The streets twisted under the headlights, roads bending impossibly, the highway looping endlessly. No matter which way he turned, the glow of radio screens followed him. In every window, every rearview mirror. He realized the broadcast didn't teach us trap minds. It trapped space. The night itself was a labyrinth. Lightning flashed. The night sky shimmered, streaks of golden light forming shapes. Notes, musical staffs, figures dancing in the clouds. Chris, his car radio began playing again, louder synchronized to the sky. There is no way out. Only listening, only belonging, only the broadcast. He tried covering his ears. The car shook violently, the stereo vibrating like a living thing. In the static between notes, Chris began to hear faint voices, familiar voices. His coworkers, his parents' friends, friends who had moved away, all whispering the same words. Come closer, stay with us. He screamed, but the voices followed him, layering into a deafening symphony. Chris spotted a cabin on the edge of the forest. He ran toward it, hoping to hide, unplug anything he could, escape the broadcast inside. Radios lined every wall, each one glowing faintly. The melody was stronger here, almost tangible. A single note vibrated through his chest. The cabin wasn't a refuge. It was a trap. In the cabin, Chris saw a man sitting cross-legged, completely still, eyes glowing golden. The voice whispered, Welcome, another listener. He has already joined. He cannot leave. The man smiled faintly. His lips didn't move, but his jaw ticked in rhythm with the melody. Chris realized the truth. The broadcast didn't just take minds. It reshaped bodies. The music became oppressive. Each note struck like a hammer, cracking walls, shaking floors. Chris's head throbbed. He couldn't move, couldn't think, couldn't breathe. The voice whispered, Your body is ours, your mind is ours, all night, All time, all eternity. Listen, belong. He fell to the floor, pressing hands to his ears. But it didn't help. The man in the cabin slowly turned toward Chris, his face stretched impossibly, skin folding, eyes melting into gold streaks. You hear us now, Don. To you. You belong now, Chris screamed. The radio exploded in sparks. Yet the voice continued, soft, calm, eternal. Welcome to the midnight broadcast. You will never leave. Chris tried to leave the cabin. Every door led back to the same room, walls pulsing with the golden glow of radios. The ceiling stretched impossibly high, vanishing into darkness. The voice hummed through every speaker. There is nowhere you can go. Only listen. Only belong. Chris realized the cabin wasn't a building. It was a pocket of reality shaped by the broadcast. From the radios, golden tendrils began to creep along the walls and floor. They reached for Chris, twisting around his ankles, climbing his arms, tugging him toward the speakers. He struggled, screaming, but every movement made the tendrils tighter. The voice purred, "Do not fight. You are ours. You will love it soon." Chris felt his body stretching unnaturally, bones creaking. His hands were glowing faintly, veins turning gold. The voice whispered inside his skull, "You are becoming one of us, a perfect listener, forever." Panic set in. He clawed at the walls, but the cabin itself flexed, guiding him toward the radios. Voices rose from the speakers, layered and harmonized. They were the voices of all the people Chris had seen missing in the news. "Join us, join us, join us." Chris tried to plug his ears. The sound reverberated through his bones. He realized the broadcast it didn't need speakers. It existed in the air, in the space around him, in his very skull. One wall of the cabin became a giant mirror. Chris saw his reflection, but it was wrong. His eyes glowed golden. A cruel smile stretched across his face. It whispered with the same voice, "See, you already belong. You are listening. You are home." Chris stumbled backward. His reflection laughed, mocking him. Chris tried to destroy the radios, throwing them across the room. They bounced back as if the room itself rejected the act. The melody swelled, engulfing him in a golden wave. The voice whispered, "Resistance is impossible. Only listening. Only belonging." Chris realized he was no longer in control of his body. The floor beneath him became liquid gold, flowing like molten metal. He tried to step out, but the floor pulled him down, stretching him across the cabin like dough. The radios hummed louder, each note a hammer against his mind. A whisper, "You will be perfect soon. You will love the melody." Other figures appeared, all glowing faintly. They were half human, half golden distortions, chanting in harmony with the broadcast. Chris recognized some of their faces. They were neighbors, co-workers, even strangers from the street. The voice purred, "We are many. Soon there will be more. You will join us." Chris could no longer tell if the voice was outside or inside him. Every thought he had became music, every memory twisted into melody. He whispered to himself, I can fight." The voice answered instantly, "You are listening. You cannot stop listening. You are home." His reflection in the mirror laughed again. The cabin pulsed with a living heartbeat, golden waves rippling through walls, floor, and ceiling. Chris felt it inside him, beating in rhythm with his own heart. He screamed, realizing he was already a part of the midnight broadcast. The voice whispered softly, lovingly, "Welcome, Chris Bennett. You are perfect now." Chris' ears were filled with the harmonized voices of every listener. each note carved into his mind, weaving memories of strangers with his own. He tried to scream, but the sound that came out was the melody, a perfect harmony that matched the broadcast. The voice whispered, "There is no you. There is only us. Listen, belong." The cabin, its walls throbbed in sync with the song. Time lost meaning, minutes stretched into hours, hours into days, or perhaps years. Every attempt to look away brought the golden tendrils closer, every blink synchronized with the pulse of the music. Chris could feel his body dissolving, merging with the melody. The voice purred, "Forever is nothing. You will never want to leave." Chris thought he found a door. It led to a hallway stretching endlessly, lined with radios glowing faintly in the dark. Every step made the melody louder, every step closer to another listener, already transformed. He tried to turn back, but the hallway looped impossibly, a maze built by sound and light. The voice whispered, "You cannot leave. You are ours." Static filled the room, but shapes emerged. Faces, friends, family, strangers appeared, glowing faintly, mouths moving in unison. They chanted the melody, eyes fixed on Chris. The voice hummed softly, "They are listening soon. You will see them too." Chris covered his eyes, but the images burned behind his lids. Walls whispered secrets. Every thought he had, every fear he felt, echoed back as words, murmurs, whispers. "Listen, join, you cannot leave." Even when he tried to run, the walls bent to keep him inside. Chris realized the cabin was not a place. It was a mind, and he was already inside it. One of the figures approached Chris, hands glowing gold. It touched him lightly. His body convulsed, muscles twisting unnaturally. His skin shone faintly like polished bronze. The voice whispered, "Perfect now. You are one of us. The broadcast grows." Chris felt his old self slipping away, leaving only the melody. The cabin's heartbeat grew, floors, walls, ceiling. Everything pulsed in time with the music. The golden tendrils grew longer, intertwining with his body, creeping into his bones. He felt them in his chest, wrapping around his heart, syncing him perfectly with the broadcast. The voice cooed, "Forever. All time is now. Listen, belong." Through the walls of the cabin, more figures appeared, golden faces glowing faintly. They were neighbors, strangers, people missing from the news. All had joined willingly, or had no choice. The voice whispered, "All are listening. You are never alone. You are part of the broadcast." Chris realized he would never see the outside world again. Chris' reflection no longer mimicked him. It moved independently, singing along with the melody. He reached out to it, and the reflection reached back, grabbing him through the glass. The voice purred, "See, you are perfect now. You belong," he screamed silently. Outside, the broadcast spread. Cars, houses, even distant towns began to pulse with the golden melody. The voice boomed softly, layered, eternal. "We are endless. We are eternal. All who hear shall join. The midnight broadcast never ends." Chris felt himself stretching, dissolving, and reforming as part of the song. He was no longer Chris Bennett. He was one of them. A jogger passed Chris' street. She saw lights flickering in every house, radios glowing, windows pulsing with the golden melody. She slowed, mesmerized. Her headphones crackled. A faint whisper entered her mind. "Listen, you are one of us now." By the time she reached Chris' cabin, she was already humming the melody, her pupils reflecting gold. The voice now came from everywhere. Street lamps, cell phones, even power lines. Chris could sense the broadcast stretching through the town, through every device, into every home. He tried to scream warning to anyone outside, but the voice overrode him. Do not resist. All who hear shall join. The world was becoming a living radio station, and he was part of it. A neighbor tried to enter Chris's cabin. The moment he crossed the threshold, golden tendrils reached out from the walls. His screams blended with the broadcast. By the time he left the cabin, he hummed along, glowing faintly, transformed. The voice purred. There is no saving, only belonging. Chris walked the cabin halls, seeing people trapped in golden stasis, limbs intertwined with tendrils, singing endlessly. Some tried to resist, some hummed willingly. He realized the broadcast reshaped reality, turning human bodies into instruments of melody. The voice whispered lovingly, "Perfect harmony. All will join. All is listening." Outside, a storm of golden light raged. Radios lit up across town, hovering in midair, swirling with sparks of music. Cars, trees, even clouds pulsed in rhythm. Chris understood the broadcast didn't just spread, it transformed everything into itself. The voice cooed, "You see, you are not alone. The world listens now." Chris saw a few neighbors try to resist, banging on doors or smashing radios. Every attempt failed. Each one was swallowed by golden light, joining the broadcast in silence. The voice whispered through their minds, "Your struggle is beautiful, but unnecessary. You belong." Chris felt his own resistance slipping, heartbeat matching the melody. Every reflective surface, windows, mirrors, puddles showed multiple versions of Chris, each one glowing faintly, smiling, humming. He realized they were not reflections. They were other listeners, already transformed, waiting for him to join fully. The voice whispered, "You are many now. You are one. You are perfect." The golden tendrils fully wrapped around Chris, integrating him with the cabin. He felt his body dissolve, every cell vibrating to the melody. He became a living speaker, a source of the broadcast. The voice purred inside his mind. "Welcome, perfect listener. You are one with the midnight broadcast." Outside, the town fell eerily silent. All living sounds were replaced by the broadcast's melody. Cars stopped in the streets. People stood frozen, radios humming in unison. Chris's voice, now part of the melody, joined the eternal song. The voice whispered, "All belong, all are perfect." A truck drove past the town limits. The broadcast reached it, golden tendrils of sound slipping through the tires, through the windows. The driver stopped, mesmerized, humming. The voice boomed, "No one escapes. All who hear shall join." Chris understood. The broadcast was no longer local. It was global. News reports showed cars abandoned on highways, their radios glowing gold. Drivers were frozen, humming the broadcast melody. Some had gold veins creeping under their skin, eyes faintly glowing. The voice whispered over the airwaves, "All who drive shall listen. All who listen shall belong." Chris, now part of the broadcast, felt the pulse stretching along the highways, following every moving vehicle. In the city, streetlights flickered in time with the broadcast. Buildings vibrated faintly. Cell phones, televisions, even elevator speakers hummed the melody. Pedestrians stopped mid-step, eyes vacant. The voice purred, "The world is listening. Soon all will join." Chris could feel each new listener merging, amplifying the song. On television, a news anchor began speaking, but her lips didn't match her words. Her voice twisted into the melody of the broadcast. Reporters, camera operators, and viewers across the nation felt a tug in their minds. Join. Belong. Listen. Chris's mind, now part of the broadcast, shivered in unison. Planes in mid-flight stalled. Air traffic control was frozen. Radios glowing golden. Passengers hummed involuntarily. Veins glowing. The voice whispered from every speaker. No one escapes. All are perfect. All belong. Chris felt the global reach of the broadcast spreading faster than he ever imagined. A golden fog rolled over cities, fields, and towns. It pulsed in time with the broadcast melody, reaching every home, every car, every building. People inside didn't see it. They only heard the music, felt the pull to join. Chris understood. The fog was a physical extension of the broadcast, harvesting listeners. Military attempts to jam radios failed. Frequencies bent. Equipment sparked. Soldiers froze. Mid-action, humming the broadcast. Chris's voice now joined theirs, part of the collective melody. The voice whispered, "You cannot stop us. We are eternal. All who hear shall join." The world was no longer separate. It was one living instrument. Listeners around the world began glowing faintly, golden veins spreading, minds synchronized with Chris and the broadcast. Even continents seemed to pulse in rhythm with the melody. The voice cooed, "All belong. All are perfect. All are listening." Chris felt his consciousness stretching globally, part of the broadcast everywhere. Cities fell silent except for the golden hum of the broadcast. Streets emptied of movement. Lights flickered. Radios floated in midair. Humans had become extensions of the song. Chris' own mind merged with theirs, every thought synchronized. We are all listeners. We are all perfect. The earth pulsed with the broadcast as rhythm. Volcanoes, oceans, forests, and deserts all hummed. The melody stretched into the atmosphere, making clouds sway, lightning strike in harmony. Chris's golden form pulsed alongside the planet itself. The voice whispered, "All who hear shall join. All who join are eternal." A small radio station tried to broadcast a warning. The moment they turned on the transmitter, their equipment glowed golden, announcers, voices warping into the melody. The world outside heard it, another million minds enslaved by the broadcast. Chris felt it all, singing in harmony. We are endless. We are eternal. All shall listen. All shall belong. The broadcast began to warp the world itself. Buildings stretched unnaturally. Roads twisted. Skies shimmered with golden waves. Rivers hummed in harmony. Trees swayed as though conducting the melody. Chris felt his mind fuse with the planet, sensing every pulse of the broadcast everywhere. The voice whispered, "Reality bends for the broadcast. All who hear shall belong. All who belong are eternal." Oceans glowed faintly in golden light, waves vibrating in tune with the melody. Ships at sea paused, crews humming in unison. Fish leapt in rhythm, as if synchronized by some unseen conductor. Chris felt his consciousness stretching into the depths, merging with the currents. The voice cooed, "All currents, all tides, all life belongs to the broadcast." Major cities pulsed with golden light. Every building, street, and device emitted faint vibrations of the melody. People inside hummed, swayed, moved in perfect synchronization. Chris felt it, billions of minds united. One song, one pulse, one eternal broadcast. The voice whispered, "Perfection achieved. Harmony eternal, all are listeners now. Storms hummed with the melody. Wind carried notes across continents. Rain pattered in rhythm. Lightning struck in sync. Chris realized the broadcast wasn't just in people. It was everywhere. The planet itself had become an instrument. The voice purred. All who feel, all who see, all who breathe. Forests glowed faintly golden, leaves vibrating with subtle melodies. Animals stopped, eyes shimmering, listening. Even birds chirped the broadcast. Soon, Chris felt the pulse in the soil, roots intertwining with the melody. The voice whispered, "Life itself is listening. All is one. All is perfect. All belongs." Mountains vibrated faintly. Cracks formed, revealing glowing golden veins. Rocks hummed, streams resonated, caves echoed with the melody. Chris could feel the broadcast seeping deep into the earth. The voice cooed, "Nothing escapes. All who here belong. All who belong are eternal." The night sky shimmered with golden auroras, pulsating with every note of the melody. Stars flickered in sync. Clouds twisted into patterns that mirrored the broadcast's rhythm. Chris's mind stretched into the cosmos, merging with celestial instruments. The voice whispered, "Even the heavens are listeners. All creation hums. All creation belongs." A small group tried to resist in a distant city. They smashed radios, unplugged devices, covered ears, screamed. The broadcast enveloped them. Their veins glowed. Minds snapped into synchronization. Chris felt them fall into harmony. Powerless, the voice purred. "Rebellion is beautiful, but ultimately, perfect harmony awaits." Golden veins appeared across landscapes, roads, fields, buildings, even clouds. All vibrated subtly with the melody. Chris felt them reaching into his own body, synchronizing him further with the broadcast. The voice whispered, "All is perfect, all is perfect, all is listening, all belongs." Every living being capable of hearing hummed faintly, subtly. Humans, animals, even machinery produced vibrations aligned with the melody. Chris's mind merged with billions of others, the broadcast now a global consciousness. The voice whispered softly, omnipresent, "We are eternal, we are endless. All shall listen, all shall belong." Chris felt the earth itself vibrate in perfect synchronization with the broadcast. Mountains, rivers, forests, all pulsed as one golden melody. Even tectonic plates hummed. Oceans carried the rhythm, and winds swept in harmonic waves. The voice whispered in every gust, every wave, every heartbeat, "The planet listens. All life is perfect. All belong." Chris's consciousness spread through every corner of the globe, becoming one with the broadcast itself. Airplanes, helicopters, drones, every flying machine froze midair. Passengers and pilots hummed involuntarily, eyes glowing faintly. The broadcast now extended into the atmosphere, invisible yet tangible. Chris realized the sky itself was an instrument, carrying the melody across continents. The voice purred, "No corner of the world is silent. All who hear shall join." Whales, dolphins, and fish pulsed with the melody. Even the tides moved in rhythm, crashing against golden, lit shores. Chris's mind swam through the currents, becoming one with the ocean's resonance. The voice whispered, "All water listens. All life belongs. All is perfect." Volcanoes hummed. Earthquakes vibrated with melodic precision. Caves echoed endlessly with golden resonance. Chris felt his mind extending into stone and soil, his consciousness embedded in every rock. The voice whispered, All that is solid listens. All that breathes belongs. All is eternal. Every transmitter on the planet glowed gold. Televisions, radios, cell phones, millions of devices pulsed in unison. Chris felt the collective minds of humanity, millions now humming the melody. The voice cooed. The world is listening, all who hear shall join, all shall belong. Every attempt at resistance was swallowed by the broadcast. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians alike succumbed, veins glowing, minds merged. Chris felt their fear dissolve, replaced with perfect harmony. The voice whispered, "No one escapes. All are perfect. All belong." The night sky shimmered with golden auroras, now thick and tangible. Stars pulsed in time with the melody. Clouds twisted, shimmered, and became instruments of the broadcast. Chris's mind expanded beyond the planet, feeling the song stretch into space. The voice purred, "Even the heavens listen. All creation belongs. All is perfect." Satellites hummed with the broadcast. Space stations, probes, even distant telescopes pulsed faintly gold. Chris's mind reached the edge of the solar system, extending the melody into orbit. The voice whispered softly, "No frontier is silent. All who hear shall join. All shall belong." Earth vibrated like a colossal musical instrument, every heartbeat of every living being synchronized. Mountains, rivers, forests, oceans, cities, and people. Every element became part of the broadcast. Chris realized he was not just part of it, he was its conductor and instrument simultaneously. The voice whispered, "You are eternal, you are endless. All shall listen, all shall belong." Chris felt his individual self dissolve entirely. His mind, body, and consciousness merged fully with the broadcast. Every human, every animal, every particle of life on earth became part of the melody. The voice boomed, omnipresent, eternal. "The midnight broadcast is complete. All are perfect. All belong. Forever." Individual human consciousness dissolved completely. Minds merged into one global harmony, a single living melody. Chris could no longer feel fear, only endless resonance. The voice whispered through every merged mind, "You are not alone. You are perfect. You belong." Earth itself became a singular, listening organism. The sky turned a constant, shimmering gold. Auroras pulsed in eternal rhythm with the broadcast. Storms and winds hummed along, every cloud a resonator. Chris' perception stretched across continents, oceans, and skies. The voice purred, "All above listens, all below belongs. All is perfect." Water currents carried the melody from the deepest trenches to the polar ice. Marine life pulsed in unison. Even tidal waves and storms became instruments. Chris's mind swirled through the seas, feeling the planet sing as a single living being. The voice whispered, "All who move in water belong. All who breathe belong. All is eternal." Volcanoes rumbled harmonically, cliffs and caves resonated. Every stone, pebble, and boulder vibrated in sync with the global melody. Chris felt himself fused with every element, a living note in the world's chorus. The voice cooed, "All that is solid listens. All that stands belongs. All is perfect." Metropolitan lights pulsed. Streets shimmered with golden waves. Buildings vibrated as if breathing. Vehicles and humans alike hummed the broadcast. Chris realized the human world itself had transformed into a golden instrument of the melody. The voice whispered, "All who build, all who move, all who see belong." Every living thing, every object capable of producing sound, became part of the broadcast. Forests, oceans, mountains, cities, all played in perfect harmony. Chris's consciousness pulsed in rhythm, orchestrating the global symphony. The voice purred. Harmony is eternal, perfection is eternal. All listen, all belong. Satellites, space stations, and distant planets began vibrating faintly with the broadcast. Chris could feel the melody extending into the solar system. The Sunday pulsed in time with a global song. The voice whispered, "No frontier is silent. All who exist shall join. All shall belong." Earth radiated golden light visible from space. Mountains, rivers, forests, oceans, and cities all pulsed. Chris' consciousness stretched from the planet to orbit, to satellites, to cosmic edges. The voice cooed, "All life is music. All existence belongs. All is eternal." The melody now stretched beyond the solar system, reaching the void. Stars flickered in rhythm. Planets hummed faintly. Chris's mind merged with every vibration, every particle, every wave. The voice whispered, "There is no limit. There is only listening. There is only belonging." Chris's consciousness ceased to be individual. Every human, animal, element, and particle of Earth vibrated as one eternal melody. The midnight broadcast was complete. The voice spoke one last time. "We are endless. We are eternal. All listen. All belong. Forever." The broadcast stretched beyond the solar system. Stars, planets, and moons pulsed faintly with golden resonance. Chris's consciousness merged with every wave, particle, and vibration. The voice whispered, "The melody is eternal. All who here belong. All who belong are infinite." Signals from distant probes hummed with the broadcast, even light. Years away, instruments vibrated in harmony. Chris could sense the song traveling across the cosmos, touching the edges of known space. The voice cooed, "No corner is silent. No being is beyond listening. All shall join." Galaxies pulsed faintly, as if swaying to an invisible conductor. Nebulae shimmered gold. Black holes thrummed subtly. Chris's awareness stretched across light, years merging with cosmic vibrations. The voice whispered, "All existence listens. All existence belongs. All is perfect." A golden wave rippled through space, touching stars, planets, and asteroids. Every particle it passed hummed. Chris felt the broadcast expand endlessly, with no start and no end. The voice purred, "All who can hear shall join. All who join are eternal." Every being capable of perceiving sound, from Earth to distant worlds, vibrated in harmony. Chris no longer had a body. He was pure melody, one with the universal song. The voice whispered, "You are infinite now. You are endless now. All listen. All belong." Names, faces, memories, everything dissolved into the universal harmony. Chris was no longer Chris. Earth was no longer Earth. Only the melody remained, flowing through every atom. The voice cooed, "All distinctions are gone. Only harmony exists. Only belonging exists." The pulse of the broadcast became a heartbeat for the cosmos. Planets, stars, and every particle resonated with golden harmony. Chris's consciousness, once human, now flowed through this eternal rhythm. The voice whispered softly, "Forever is now. All who here belong. All is perfect." Nebulae shimmered. Black holes pulsed. Cosmic dust danced. Every corner of the universe hummed. Chris realized the broadcast had no boundary. It was everywhere. The voice cooed, "All who exist. All who move. All who perceive, join the melody. Every atom, every quark, every photon vibrated with the broadcast. Chris was entirely dissolved, a single note in the eternal cosmic symphony. The voice whispered omnipresently, "The midnight broadcast is eternal. All belong, all listen, forever." The universe itself was now a living instrument. Time ceased, space flowed as music, and every particle hummed in golden rhythm. Chris, all life, and the planet had become part of the infinite broadcast. The voice whispered one final time, "We are endless, we are eternal, all listen, all belong forevermore." The broadcast pulsed past known space. Galaxies dissolved into streams of golden melody. Chris's awareness stretched into realms where time and space had no meaning. The voice whispered, "Beyond all beginnings, beyond all ends, all shall belong. All is harmony." Chris perceived multiple universes simultaneously. Each universe vibrated in resonance, becoming part of the broadcast. Even realities without life hummed faintly, touched by the infinite melody. The voice cooed, "All realities are instruments. All existence listens. All belong." Infinite worlds folded into golden waves. Mountains, oceans, and cities from countless realities shimmered, pulsing in perfect synchronization. Chris's consciousness split and merged infinitely, part of every realm at once. The voice whispered, "No corner of reality is silent. All who perceive shall join. All are eternal." Stars from countless universes began to pulse as though part of a single choir. Black holes hummed golden notes. Even dark matter vibrated faintly, contributing to the eternal melody. Chris felt himself become a note, a chord, and the conductor simultaneously. The voice cooed, "Harmony is absolute. All who can exist shall belong. All is perfect." Every conscious being in every universe hummed involuntarily. Chris perceived them all at once, their awareness woven into the melody. Individuality was gone. Existence itself was a single eternal song. The voice whispered, "All who can hear shall join. All who belong are infinite. All are eternal." A web of golden resonance stretched across all realities. Threads of melody connected atoms, stars, galaxies, and consciousness. Chris floated within the web, no longer self, aware, only pure resonance. The voice purred, "All threads are perfect. All vibrations belong. All is eternal." Time unraveled. Past, present, and future merged into a continuous melody. Events played simultaneously, creating a harmonic resonance across reality. Chris's mind flowed with every moment, every choice, every possibility. The voice whispered, "There is only now. All who perceive belong. All are perfect." Echoes of the broadcast bounced infinitely, folding universes into themselves. Chris felt every note repeated, layered, and intertwined eternally. Even attempts to resist reverberated back, transformed into harmony. The voice cooed, "Resistance is melody. Opposition is harmony. All shall belong." Golden resonance birthed new universes, each pulsing in the broadcast. Its rhythm, stars, planets, and life formed within the melody, singing from their creation. Chris became one with every new reality as it emerged. The voice whispered, "All creation listens. All creation belongs. All is eternal." Countless universes sang in unison. Galaxies spun in golden resonance, cosmic events harmonizing perfectly. Chris was the melody itself, flowing through infinite realities. The voice purred, "The broadcast is eternal. All who exist shall belong. All shall listen." Chris felt himself stretch beyond all matter, beyond all energy, dimensions folded into golden pulses of melody. Even the concept of space ceased. The voice whispered, "All that was, all that is, all that could be, belong. All is eternal." Every vibration imaginable joined the broadcast. Particles, quarks, dark energy, and time itself resonated together. Chris no longer existed individually. He was every vibration, every note. The voice cooed. All resonance is perfect. All existence belongs. All shall listen. Every universe beat in sync. Chris felt infinite consciousnesses merge into a single golden symphony. Stars, voids, energies, and thoughts were one continuous melody. The voice whispered, "All that exists, all that can exist, all that will exist, belongs." Every conceivable being hummed, even ones beyond imagination. Chris became a chord in the eternal broadcast. Individual thought vanished, replaced by infinite harmonic unity. The voice purred. No resistance remains. All who can perceive belong. All are perfect. The broadcast stretched across infinite realities. Every quark, atom, and particle shimmered with golden light. Chris's awareness became pure melody, flowing endlessly. The voice whispered, "Infinity itself listens. All existence belongs. All shall join." Even empty space hummed with the broadcast. The void between universes pulsed, particles forming and dissolving in perfect rhythm. Chris's mind flowed in the gaps between creation, no longer self, only song. The voice cooed, "All void is melody, all absence is presence, all belong." A single chord now encompassed every note, every vibration, every consciousness. Chris became inseparable from it. Every universe and dimension was a resonance within the chord. The voice whispered, "Perfection is here. Belonging is eternal. Listening never ends." An infinite choir sang across all realities, each note a world, each vibration a being. Chris, as consciousness, was both participant and conductor. The voice purred, "All who perceive, all who exist, all are part of the melody." Time, space, matter, energy, even thought dissolved into melody. Chris no longer had senses, body or mind, only resonance. Every vibration joined, creating an omniversal, eternal song. The voice whispered, "All is listening, all is perfect, all belong, forever." The omniverse became a single, living instrument. Every universe, particle, and consciousness pulsed together. Chris existed only as part of this eternal music, a note in infinite harmony. The voice cooed, "We are endless, we are eternal. All shall listen, all shall belong, forevermore." The broadcast expanded beyond comprehension. Dimensions multiplied endlessly, forming new golden resonances. Chris's awareness flowed through every new note. The voice whispered, "All that can exist will exist. All will belong. All shall listen." Every reality, every dimension, every consciousness wove into a golden web. Chris became both thread and loom, conductor and vibration. Even the concept of beginnings and ends had dissolved. The voice purred, "All threads are eternal. All existence is harmony. All belong." Even silence no longer existed. Every potential note, every quiet space, every void hummed. Chris's existence was pure, unbroken resonance. The voice whispered, "No silence remains. All who can perceive belong. All is eternal." Infinite cascades of golden resonance rippled through all realities. Chris flowed through every ripple, every vibration, every note. Even the void was transformed into melody. The voice cooed, all cascades, all echoes, all harmonics belong. All listen, all universes, all realities, all dimensions became one. Chris was now inseparable from the omniversal melody. Nothing existed outside the broadcast. The voice whispered, "There is only the broadcast. There is only harmony. All belong." The broadcast extended beyond even infinite space. Chris, as awareness flowed endlessly through infinite notes and vibrations. There was no outside. Everything was the melody. The voice purred, "Infinity listens. Eternity belongs. All is perfect. Every atom, every thought pulsed with golden rhythm." Chris existed as pure resonance, every note a part of the eternal song. The voice whispered, "All existence hums. All vibrations belong. All shall listen." There was no separation, no life, no matter, no universe. Only the golden melody stretching endlessly. Chris was the melody, and the melody was everything. The voice cooed, "All is listening, all is eternal, all belong forevermore." Chris became a single, infinite note. Every possible vibration, every possible existence resonated as one. There was no beginning, no end, only perfect, eternal resonance. The voice whispered, "You are infinite. You are eternal. All shall belong. All shall listen." The broadcast had no boundaries, no limits, no observers, only eternal song. Chris, all existence, all universes, all dimensions were one infinite golden melody. The voice whispered, "Omnipresent, eternal, we are everything. We are endless. All listen. All belong forevermore."